Hello, welcome back to another day at the Goodwood Festival of Speed and another day with my helmet in my hand, which means another day going up the hill in something very special indeed. And today we're about to go out in the prototype version of the 2,000 horsepower, £2 million electric Lotus Evija Hypercar. We'll run over the stats when we jump in the car shortly, but for me, the overriding fascination with this is it's an early look at how, when I say we, how the industry engineers are going to make interesting and engaging electric drivers' cars. From a commuter aspect and a daily driver proposition, I think we've already nailed the electric car thing, maybe a bit more range here and there. But the important thing is, in this paddock here, right now, there are a few electric cars, but they're only hypercars. They're £2 million, they're 2,000 horsepower, the Rimac over there, for example. Today, we're going to get a very early taste at what it feels like, and then hopefully, in the not too distant future, this tech and maybe the DNA of Lotus will filter down into smaller, more affordable electric drivers' cars. So let's jump on board and see what it's all about. What stage of development's this at? Have we got traction control and things like that?
We've not got traction control. Should generate a lot of smoke. As it
Okay.
says on the front, prototype.
Yep.
So dynamically, damper, springs, roll bars, things like this is good.
Okay.
We're pulling about 80% of the total power.
All right.
But that's mainly to do with my right foot, so any jerks you'll have to sort of blame me for.
All right.
Static aero, no traction control, no some ABS. So yeah, it's impressive.
Fascinating. Yeah,
And
but you've got to be on your game.
I have to be on my game, and obviously, also you don't know if the drifting boys out and just spun a load of
Of
grass
course.
onto the next corner.
Yeah.
So no,
Wow.
it's got Goodwood features as well.
Okay, so any of the fancy torque vectoring or anything that you can do with electric motors, is that taking place now?
No.
Okay, so
what we're
it's
doing
really
is-
quite
yeah, it's
pure
quite
then
raw,
right
yeah.
now. Okay,
so
wow.
we've got a certain amount of torque,
Uh-huh.
and to the front, certain amount to the rear, and we're running about 70% to the rear,
Okay.
30% to the front.
Right.
We're on the Trofeo tyre,
Uh-huh.
but obviously stone cold from launch.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. Okay. I'm excited for it. I was just saying to camera earlier, even though I'm not driving it, I'm really fascinated how the learnings from this are going to filter down into one day more accessible electric drivers' cars.
I think the biggest learning from this has been where we've put the weight,
Uh-huh.
and that's going to be, we didn't put it in the floor, for all the reasons, the height, but actually how nimble that's made the car feel.
Right.
And the way that the car rolls, and so you'll actually, even here, you'll feel the car slightly roll, and then it takes a set.
Okay.
Well, a very, very stiff car, they're very flat,
Yes.
which feels very fast, but
Yeah.
sometimes a little bit nervous even.
Yeah,
so that's what we're
Fabulous.
sort of challenging. It's a typical Lotus how we do it. It's quite soft in roll. It actually rolls, so it copes with that stuff really well. It's not got any vertical bounce. It's not bouncing and porpoising. It actually grips and goes.
Fabulous, man.
No,
So at the minute, it's not running any traction, nothing. It's just pure.
no, it's just gav power. This one.
Bloody
there.
hell. So.
Right foot.
Yeah.
Floor mounted
bloody hell,
right foot.
yeah.
Full amount of traction control. So, yeah, no, it's really, really good.
All right, so exciting times. Regardless of it not sounding like that, it'll probably go a lot quicker, so I'm excited for it. All right, we'll see you up there.
Rides the bumps even through there.
Yeah, it's quite compliant. Crikey, the acceleration's absolutely berserk. Oh my god, that's just gnarly acceleration.
unbelievable.
It's just that drama from not having all that running engines and high oil temperature to just send
That's
it.
unbelievable, man.
And the numbers are
Watching
just
those
moving.
numbers was unbelievable. It's just relentless pull.
But it just makes the engines feel redundant, doesn't it? As soon as you drive it.
Yeah. Good God.
It's hard to explain, isn't it?
It is hard to. It's really difficult. It actually like presses on your eyeballs.
It's 1G. It's over 1G.
1G of acceleration.
all the time.
Oh, yeah, constantly with there's no interruption, is there?
No.
Crikey, mate. That is. Yeah.
And it is that thing where it just goes faster.
That's what I mean. It's almost like there's a magnet pulling you along the end of the road.
It is like, roller coaster sensation, isn't it? Where it's just because actually as the torque and the power builds, we can just put more and more and more torque in.
Yeah.
So at 130 miles per hour, we then actually start to go, have more torque.
Honestly, that is. I genuinely, after corner 2, I was holding my breath, ready for the acceleration. I was like, it's coming.
But did you feel the way it just rode the bumps?
Yeah, it was really compliant.
Yeah, no patter, no bumping, no tracking.
Just soaks it up.
Yeah.
Mate, that was brilliant.
It is a different world, it is, isn't it?
Top work, that was great. Brilliant, thanks a lot.
So there we go. It's got me really thinking, that has. It's really got me thinking. Because up until this point, the only electric cars I've really experienced are daily drivers, commuters' cars. And when you feel it in an application like this, that, by the way, looks this good, fundamentally, if you put an internal combustion engine in this car, it couldn't look like this. Let me just show you around the rear of this car for anyone who's not familiar with Evija, because it's a sculptural masterpiece. But just behold that for some sculpture. Look at that. It's absolutely stunning. I'm not just saying this, it's one of the best looking cars I've ever seen. Look at the diffuser. Fundamentally, this could not be achieved with an internal combustion engine, so it allows for crazy aero channeling like this. But in terms of performance, I mean, Gavin just said something quite interesting. So in terms of the feeling of acceleration, imagine you're in a fairly decent supercar and you're going along at road legal speeds and you were to slam on the brakes, full ABS mode. That feeling of deceleration, everyone could kind of relate to in terms of massive amounts of sheer G-force. This does that. Same sensation in terms of acceleration. That's how ridiculous this thing is. It's got me thinking. I'm going to go and debrief a bit more with Gavin, and then we'll catch up again back down to the paddock. I'm a little bit. I've got a headache. Up until now, literally up until today, they've always felt like almost like a white good, Yeah. It's just been this sort of tool that facilitates something and didn't really have a great deal of emotion. This is a different story.
And it's not just the acceleration that brings emotion. There is noise.
Yeah.
But it's the emotion comes from. It's not fear, is it? It's just adrenaline.
No, it's a sense of occasion, isn't it? It's like, okay, crikey, it is an attack on the senses because of the speed. Everything is approaching so much. What was nice to see was you driving it like a driver's car. Yeah, that was great.
It's all
over the place.
I thought
that was really
cool. We didn't do too much smoke, but we'll have a good old go.
That was great,
here.
And honestly, that for me is probably where I've been the most apprehensive. And okay, this is quite an extreme example of that right now, but I'm sure by Moore's law, as it were, this technology and R&D will eventually filter down into cars with which mere mortals can actually access.
So the theory is 250 mile range,
right?
Sort of EPA, so even a little bit more.
Which for hypercars, supercars, all right.
Someone like me driving it is around about 12 to 15 laps of heckle.
Flat. Interesting. Okay, so that's 10 tenths.
10 tenths, probably other people, 15 to 18.
Yeah.
And then a sort of 12-minute charge, go again.
12-minute charge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah, let's do that. It's of a different breed, isn't it?
The acceleration of it feels faster than falling. Does that make sense?
It is, yeah.
It doesn't.
It does,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Your stomach goes like.
Yeah. Yeah, so city will be like 1,000 horsepower, so it'll be half.
Only 1,000.
Yeah.
That's city mode.
City modes.
Okay.
But we can map that however you like,
Yeah.
you know. Like range,
Yeah.
if you wanted, you could have it as 2-wheel drive only.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's, you know, you could just say, right, let's make it 400 horsepower,
Right.
really, you know, and just get it as far as we want.
How restricted are you by grip in terms of power deployment?
This is traction limited, so sort of 70% of max torque is about what we can get because we've got wide tyres on and they sort of warm up. The front is quite traction limited because obviously a narrow tyre and and obviously when you steer is where you're shearing the contact
less
latch.
contact.
It's like giving one of them to get it to slide type thing.
Yeah,
You're doing it all the time.
The horsepower was one thing. What's the torque level?
1,700 newton meters.
1,700 newton meters.
Torque, yeah.
I mean, these are just numbers which just don't even exist in other worlds.
Yeah, 2 megawatts of power, 1,700 newton meters. So it's the equivalent to 2,000 kettles.
Buddy.
Just sitting there.
Yeah, just sitting there in the back there.